Recording is on. We're about to go live.
Okay, so we're recording. Perfect.
And we're live well, you'll hear me when we're live. There we are. We're live, Shinno. Welcome to the show.
G'day, mate. How are you going this wonderfully chilly and smoky Tuesday evening?
Have you
got the barbecue on?
Well, mate, it reminds me of one of those old mother-in-law's cooking jokes, doesn't it? It is particularly smoggy. So I'd hate to be anyone who is off out for a run there or anything tonight. But hopefully it all clears away pretty soon. So, mate, how have you been? Good?
No, I've been good. It's been another interesting week in this wide world we live in. But I'm particularly excited about tonight's little chat, mate. We've had a little bit of fun on Facebook and Instagram today, haven't we? So we have a couple of new segments. So looking forward to getting stuck into that. So, but firstly, mate, what are you drinking tonight?
Mate, what am I drinking? This is perfect, I think, for our show. Tracy has been and done the beer shopping. For me, I'm drinking, mate, that old classic. Can you read that there, mate? Old man yells at cloud.
Thicker glasses.
Old man yells at cloud from a brewery called Old Wives Ales. I don't quite know where they are. I've had this beer before. It's an absolute stunner. And there it goes. You just hear that little crack coming in and the pour. So
you've just broken its back.
Mate, it's going nicely, and of course that leads us into we're going to review this a little.
We are, mate. So I've got the
ratings. So what are you drinking?
Well, I've got a sneaky little down to my little local the other day. We popped down there on Sunday evening for Mother's Day, and we picked up a few takeaway roasts, and obviously filled up the squealer and grabbed a couple of cans. So I've got a black IPA, which is a 6%er. Which I've not had this one before. It's actually in collaboration with Grain CRU, which are apparent experts in craft beer. So
they are just over near me. That's the I think the tap
Celebrations
at
Carlisle.
Celebrations Carlisle. Great little.
That's what it's got down there.
Yeah. No.
Oh wow.
Absolutely.
So absolutely that. This is one of our new segments this evening, Battle of the Beers, and this is something which we'll be doing each week, where we'll be tasting a beer, consuming it obviously during the chat, and at the end of the chat, at the end of the episode, we'll give it a little bit of a rating out of 5, and we will keep those ratings on our Facebook page. So over the term, we can keep a bit of a catalogue.
Now, I've got to ask, Shinno, with the 5-star rating. What do you feel a 5-star is ever deserved, or do you feel nothing ever obtains perfection?
I've always been in the mindset. I don't think I have ever handed anybody a rating at its fullest capacity, whether it be out of 10 or out of 5. Yep. But it's not to say it can't happen.
No, that's a good question. Yeah, no. I got a review at work the other day. We survey our clients, and in all the categories, there was everything came up 5s out of 5, not out of 10, but 1 4. And my manager emailed me and said, "Oh, did something go wrong?" And I'm like,
"Yeah."
Well, maybe that's the bug.
Explain yourself.
I'm like, well, what went wrong is I'm not perfect. So it just felt a little like if we're always getting 5s, are we really learning anything? So,
well, as I say, we strive for progress, not perfection, don't we?
Well, exactly right. I don't think we're ever going to sort of hit the perfection mark.
But anyway, cheers to you.
Cheers and welcome to everyone who's tuned in already. I see there's a few of you
yes.
already.
And make sure, as we always say, come to this episode with a full glass, because we'd love to see what you're drinking. So
yes.
please pop a little sneaky pic of yourself in the comments, or just drop us a line.
Yeah. Now, something a little different tonight. We are going to quiz each other on our questions. We don't have a guest, but because there's been so much excitement about our page or about the questions that Shinno has put on the page during the week and today in particular for a new segment, I think we will need and there's Shiino. He's just popped up a hi, folks. We are well onto this social media thing. So there's been a bit of a question today about a segment we're going to have a little bit later called Wanker of the Week. So that'll be great. Now, the other thing is, Shiino, you ran a survey versus Polywaffle versus Chiquito. And was there a clear winner, or did Snickers come out in its rightful position as...
It was split. It was split down the middle. So I think we will obviously have to investigate this further once the Polywaffle is released.
It's kind of a little bit like Beatles or the Stones. So, geez, Melissa's efficient. She can't get a pick on. She's already bloody got the bottle out in the recycling.
Oh.
That's hiding the evidence, isn't it?
Yeah, something's going on there.
Take a picture of the glass. Well, no, that's fair enough. I'd like to see good, efficient recycling, unlike mine, where it tends to lie about all week, and then it's a rush to get it out before the truck comes on Monday morning. All right, Shiino, I got to ask what it's in, what, the recycling bin or the bottle? I've got to ask, what gets your goat, mate?
What gets my goat? So many things. Just going through some of these new segments today, it really raised my ire, I suppose, to human nature and the way behaviour, I suppose, impacts people. But I think really what gets my boat is just obnoxious behaviour of any sort. Something I witnessed this week, which particularly agitated me, was an elderly gentleman in a shopping centre on one of those electric mobilised...
the mobility scooters, yep.
Yes, so he was travelling through the centre at great speed. And
they move, don't they?
Oh, geez, do they move. And they're quite hazardous. And this fellow was actually apprehended by a security guard and told, and I sort of overheard the conversation.
Did they have to run after him?
Well, they did. Yeah. They galloped after him, and they had to slow him down. So they had a quiet word to him, obviously being respectful to the elderly gentleman.
Yeah.
That he'll need to be mindful of his speed because he could cause an incident in the centre. And he seemed to take that on board. And but moments later, we saw him do the same thing again. It's just little things like that that get my goat, Bish. And particularly, I'm not looking at any particular one in society, but they believe that I'm just frustrated. Help me out. What do I believe? I don't even know what I believe.
I think the idea that you can do as you please without thinking about what others are doing, and
just not being considerate.
Yeah, I find that a little inconsiderate, I have to say. And there is more of a prevalence of them around. And that's a ripper. Well, I got to say, mine, and this is a much bigger one, right? And it's very similar. And I think I think we're going to morph into something like this over the C-bomb, but right at the moment, or previous to this, when you used to go out, and I've got a bit of a thing, if somebody says you must do that, and it doesn't make sense to me, I simply ask the question, why?
Yeah.
Right. And, so I went to a thing recently, that highway to hell.
Yeah, along the Kenny Highway.
And
possibly the last event before all the COVID restrictions.
Easily. And the thing was, we were riding. I do a little bit of a thing again when things were different, where we take elderly and disabled people out for rides on tri-shores, right, cycling without age, and we had that there. And there was a spot we couldn't get through with the trucks because they had trucks parked across the road. And I just said to one of the security guys, look, if those trucks were just, say inches further apart, we could get through there really easy with our passengers. Is there any chance they could be moved? And he said, no. And I said, well, okay, could you tell me why? And he said, oh yeah, terrorism. And so the thing that gets my goat is not terrorism, which is annoying enough, right? But how many things are done that just really stuff around your day, and the catch-all excuse is, oh, terrorism. Like, why can't I have my coffee warm? Oh, terrorism might. Someone, like somebody had, and I know, work in an area where you do a lot of risk assessments and all the rest of it. And no doubt for things like that, somebody's done a risk assessment, but really, a truck being there or there, yeah. So, and I realise you're talking to the wrong person when you're talking to the guy on the ground, because he's just told what to do. And I know that, but I still ask why, and it always really gets my goat that the stock answer is, well, terrorism. So, and I honestly believe going forward, I mean, there's already a lot of things we can't do at the moment, and I understand that. But I wonder if on the other side of this, there'll all be this, oh, you can't do that, sir. And I'm like, well, why not? Oh, COVID. That'll become the reason. And you go, well, that doesn't make sense.
Another convenient excuse, which has superseded the previous frivolous excuse.
That's what gets my goat at the moment, and I don't think it's likely to change.
Over policing of things that don't need to be policed whatsoever. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, or people sitting making up reasons to do something one way that just generally inconveniences a lot of people, and and to me that's not proper risk assessment, because you actually have to say, well, the risk of that is quite low. So therefore, as long as we do it this way, I think we overestimate some risks.
Oh, absolutely. And what are they comparing the risk to? What outlying principles are they considering?
Yeah. So anyway, that's mine. So
yes,
no doubt next week something different will get my goat. By this time tomorrow, something different could even get my goat. But
actually, can I add another one?
Yeah, go on.
You know what's been getting my goat a lot lately, and it seems to change. It evolves with the different trends. It's the little catchphrases people use. Go on. The one at the moment which is killing me is when people say, you ask them something, how do you believe this? You ask their opinion. Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh no, well, that wasn't what I was thinking, right? Yeah.
No, that's it. People 100%. Say 100%. Keep an ear out for it.
So they agree with you?
No, but it's just the term, 100%.
Oh, how do you feel? I'm 100%.
Yeah, or whatever. What do you think?
Like I just got off the charger.
What do you think of this? Do you agree with this? So it's their way of conveying their agreement. They'll say, yes, 100%. And it just shits me.
Well, you know the one I've been hearing a lot of, pivot. You must have heard this. Like we've had to pivot our business.
You know, the funny thing is, I think you become attuned to something.
Oh, and you never hear it anymore?
Like you pick. See, I've picked mine up. You've picked yours up.
Yeah.
But now that you've alerted me to it, no doubt I'll.
No doubt I'll be 100% agree with you there.
Yeah, you might remember the other one recently. I think I watched an interview with Mark Taylor actually, and then I couldn't get it out of my head. So where this was going back a year or two ago, where he was using the phrase "in recent times," and then whenever I watched him commentate on the cricket, he would always say "in recent times."
I think he's got this.
Much. It's like when people say at the end of the day or whatever, but they use it at every opportunity, and that's all I'm hearing. I'm not hearing anything else they're saying.
Yeah. No, I agree. And certain people have catchphrases. I work with someone who will often tell you you're correct.
Yeah.
Simply correct. Yeah, I know. I said it.
It's almost like shutting you down, isn't it?
Yes. Now, I'm going to welcome a couple of people onto the stream. Dean Lafrenaise, the man I worked with many years ago. Laffer, how are you? And you've said the AFL is getting on your goat. I'd like some explanation of that because, they've... is Gill perhaps a nomination for Wanker of the Week?
Yeah.
He's just...
I think we need to investigate further.
Well,
I'd
like Dean to perhaps give us a little bit of a tippy tap on the typewriter there and say, what is getting on his goat about the AFL? Because I mean, really, they do have numerous things that they get on various people's goats about. So, and we might be able to swing back to that. As he types, maybe he's just now cutting and pasting his list of grievances. Speaking of lists of grievances, the man who played the father of Festivus passed this week, Jerry Stiller. So that's a very sad moment. So Vale Jerry, one of my favourite Seinfeld characters, Frank Costanza, and very sad moment. So. Why don't we move on? G'day, Tommy, as well. Glad you could join us. Why don't we move on and we've often asked people their favourite conspiracy theories. I want to know yours. Shiino, have you got one?
Well, we spoke about this in the first episode, and I really couldn't come up with anything that overly impressed me. I think people have got so much more to do in this space. I think we've underachieved.
This is a deep mine. We can go so far down there.
I mean, the human race, have showed how well equipped and adaptable they are and how inventive they are. But when it comes to conspiracy theories, Bish, I think it's untouched territory. I mean, we've obviously got all the proven ones, and we've discussed these at length over the previous weeks.
Yes.
But I think, yet again, I'm putting a challenge forward for somebody to create something of note.
Well, you want to see
conspiracy. I want to see something built from the ground up, and we can help promote it.
Well, the one thing I've noticed is that even as there's been a lot of COVID-19 conspiracy theories, or as we call them here, C-bomb conspiracy theories, they do appear to be a little bit of a rehashing. It's almost like they're cover songs of previous ones. They've rolled in a bit of the anti-vax stuff, a bit of the 5G stuff, and just hooked onto it. So to me, I'm looking forward to seeing a completely new conspiracy theory on that front. But
and yours, I need to ask you, because I know you're passionate.
Well, a bit like a parent and their children, you can't have a favourite, but no. I do love them all. But the ones I particularly love, and you keep in mind, like conspiracy theories come from a mistrust of government, etc., right? But what would have to be, I think, probably my top favourite is, if you like, and it's because it simultaneously gives the perpetrator a lot of credit for pulling it off, but at the same time, it comes from people who have zero respect for him at all. And I'm talking about in general, 9/11 conspiracy theories, because I think most people who did not like George W. Bush, and that was probably most people, thought he was a bit of an idiot. Now, there is a man currently in the White House who has probably trumped him a little bit there, if you'll pardon the pun, and made him look perhaps a little better and smarter than he was. But there was a lot of a lot of people who go, well, the guy's an idiot. You know, couldn't cut his own lunch, couldn't tie his own shoelaces. And then they turn around and go, oh, but by the way, he set up September 11 just so he could invade Iraq or whatever. And you go, you give him far too much credit. You know, like nobody could have thought that through. So I just sort of, that one is a particular favourite, because you go, well, hang on a second.
Yeah.
The guy's one or the other. He's either an evil genius or he's a bumbling fool. You cannot be both. So which is he? And then once we've worked out what he is, then your theory can sort of step and fall on that.
Yeah, we need to put him in a box.
Yes, but I mean, realistically, that's a heck of a long-winded way to get around to having a crack at some other country. I mean, honestly.
That's commitment.
Yeah, that is. So to me, that is a really, really, a cracking conspiracy theory. It's terribly disrespectful to the people who lost their lives, but it fails on the very first hurdle for mine. So, well, here we go. Dean's come back to us on what gets his goat, and
Dean's active. I've not met Dean, but he seems fired up.
He's
like
very fired up.
I like that.
Shall we read it? Shall I read it out?
Yep.
Completely. We are doing it tough in ISO. So why should AFL players get exemptions to move around, go to their workplace? It is like they want us locked up in our house, waiting for them to play for our pleasure, as if we want nothing more. Yeah. I value my life more than watching the footy, and I watch a lot of footy and go to the games. And I know that for sure. Dean, strong East Perth man, strong Fremantle man, and attends many of the games locally at the Waffle. So, you make a very good point, Dean. But geez, I miss footy, so I'm sort of.
I'm torn too, Bish. I mean, I have a great love for the game, but I absolutely understand what Dean's saying when you're looking at the bigger picture, and not looking just from a personal point of view. Absolutely, it makes sense.
I guess the thing is, take the players aside from it, but any business has probably got to do what they can to keep going. And for the AFL, that's to get games on board.
Yeah. You're spot on.
I wax and wane on this. I want the footy to come back, but it's just like, it's the same reason you want a bloke in your side to win the Norm Smith medal, because that generally means you've won a premiership, right?
Yeah.
So
it's delicate. It's a complicated and complex situation, because you don't want to be seen, and this is from the AFL's perspective, but also from a governmental perspective as well, seem to be compromising the set of principles that we've placed around social distancing just because we feel as though we can, and contradict the whole measures we've put in place for the rest of society. That people are wise enough to see through that. But I understand AFL also, it's not just about the players. They are great employers. They actually obviously create roles and positions for a whole host of people outside of the playing lists. So, we'd love to see them all back up and running. But,
I think though, every day we see something where it looks like, there's a way forward, then somebody turns around and says, well, hang on, how will this bit work? and you suddenly got, there's so many moving parts. I mean, the thing I saw today, and this is particularly important, what if the waffle doesn't resume? And for that matter, in South Australia and Victoria, the Sandful and VFL as well. How do you drop players back, and how do you how do you run a successful reserves or second tier competition? Did I enjoy round one? No, I didn't, because I would have been down there watching it, but I was stuck at home in isolation in the lounge. So, look, I agree, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about watching a whole season on the telly and not going to the footy either. That's going to...
Actually, you know what, Bish, I just had an idea. Furthermore to the discussion we had last week about once all these restrictions have been diluted somewhat, is having a big meet-up somewhere. With all our friends. So we'd love for you to mention some potential places. Guys, if you could comment as to where we should meet up for our sort of kick-off, so to speak, our beer with mates. That would be amazing, but I think we should make sure that we do that whilst we're watching the footy somewhere. So we'll tie it all in.
And yeah, look, I'm hoping it comes back, but I understand the reasons, and I think there's a lot to go. So, good point. There's the news. The VFL won't go on this year, and that's I think going to be a little bit of a problem, given that Victoria is probably worse off than we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd hate to lose a footy season as well. So I don't know. Maybe we should get Dean on. We've got a guest for next week, which we'll talk about later. But maybe we should get Dean on in a couple of weeks and just talk footy. Because I haven't really had a good footy chat with anyone for ages, because there's been none to talk about. So, so we don't know. The Broken Hill. Yes, I do know the Broken Hill pretty well, Laffer. The Broken Hill, Blaster, the Balmoral. I only go to pubs beginning in the name B, which is why the Campfield has struggled. All right. Moving on. So we talked about conspiracy theories, and now we're going to debut the big subject, mate. We had so much feedback on this as well. I think
I'm so excited about this.
I am so excited. You can see.
I think people are passionate about it because let's face it, there's a lot of wankers out there, and that need to be recognised, and they need to be held to account, and we'll be celebrating them right here each week. So we'll be starting off with Wanker of the Week.
Wanker of the Week, yes. So
Wanker of the Week.
There's been so many nominations, and we were going to nominate someone, and I think we'll probably hold off till maybe next week before we nominate. And there's been a few people like high profile who've put in some good efforts. I
love that, but I love the average Joe Blow wanker.
Oh yeah, no, there's been some fair amateur efforts. So we might take away from we're going to take points off if you're already in the big league as far as being a wanker goes, and you're well known for it. So
you're inexperienced.
If you're experienced. And speaking of experience, and thanks to early guest Jeff Hansen, who nominated the man I think perhaps the award should be named for. More like a lifetime achievement type honour.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned lifetime achievement, Bish, because we will be having the Wanker Wall of Shame as well, which we will also feature on our Facebook wall.
Yes,
but absolutely, there's scope for lifetime achievement, but also rising star nominations.
Oh, rising stars for sure. So I'm going to nominate Alan Jones straight off, and in fact, I think we should call our award the Alan Jones Trophy. The guy has consistently and persistently made a wanker of himself, expressed violent words towards women on his radio show, bullied politicians, ran Sydney like it was a mafia town. So there you go. Someone's going out. So I'm going to perhaps float the idea that this becomes the Alan Jones Wanker of the Week award, but just looking at the comments.
Well, can I say, Bish, you've got some stiff opposition because do you want to hazard a guess as to who might?
Well, I was going to go Peter Evans, but I think he's. You know, I was thinking of naming that award, and then when Jeff pointed out Alan Jones, I thought Pete's kind of at the beginning of the career there. He's like, to me, he's like Chris Judd's first Brownlow, whereas Alan Jones is more like Chris Judd second Brownlow as far as being.
Yeah, I mean, no, fair call. Pete Evans obviously hasn't racked up the numbers that Alan Jones has yet, but I think he's been playing enough time on the ground where surely he's going to get enough votes.
Oh yeah, look, he's certainly no rookie. He's unlike Alan, he probably racks up a fair bit more. I mean, I sent you that little ripper earlier today about, and I'll post it on the page because it's it crosses both of our areas of interest, a wanker with a conspiracy theory. So I will post that on the page after the show.
Now, we should really talk through some of the
absolutely
the contestants that
now. Are you
some of the guys have mentioned. You fire away first.
Right. Well, I want to mention.
Which one was your favourite?
Again, a regular contributor to the show. I think he's on tonight. Here we go. Geez, Dean, you're on fire today. Richard Pusey. What's he done? Who is he? Richard Pusey. Do you know who Richard Pusey is? I'm going to Google that in a second, but or perhaps I've heard the name. All right. Geez, Laffer, we've got to get you on this show, mate. Pete's Ripper, Peter Hardy. Welcome, mate. Good to speak to you. I'd nominate the 82-year-old who drove through a roadblock whilst heading to 2J to meet a mate. I assume that's out of area. He's now wanting the police to replace his tyres that were blown by the Stinger after a 90-minute chase. Like, all right. Eventually stopped at Lover's Lane, so maybe his friend came with benefits. So, very good contender.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he sounds like, he's obviously he's been working up to this.
Oh, it's like, well, he's 82. Do you know what?
Yeah. I mean, you don't just appear at 82 and start pulling off these types of shenanigans. I would love to see the trajectory.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we'd love the guy's history of that. But I'm just wondering whether maybe he's left the shop after being chastised for going too fast on his gopher.
Yes, exactly that. Actually, you know what? It may well have been the same guy.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Is this a conspiracy theory?
Oh,
we've linked it back in again.
Oh, we have. So do you want to get the next one out?
I do. Look, I love this one. Leonard Potter from Kalgoorlie.
Yeah.
Very good runner, Lenny, by the way. Yeah. But Lenny's not happy. Let me just read this out. Lenny's got, whoever half filled the council bin I had dropped off yesterday, so one of the skip bins. Someone audaciously half filled it up, so he got it dropped off so he could clean his yard. So obviously he's gone to dump his own stuff in there.
It's already half full.
It's already half full. So he doesn't have any name. But I said, don't let that stop you.
No,
this is a forum for that where hopefully we can flush them out.
Importantly, this guy clearly lives nearby, so they walk amongst us.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that is.
You know what I'd love to do, and we did talk about this earlier today. Is getting Jeff the Rabbit Hansen.
Yes.
In some sort of investigative type role. Maybe he would agree to go up to Kalgoorlie and do a stakeout in front of Lenny's house.
Yes. No. Gary had said, "Oh God, he's a B grade." Yeah. No. The difference having a beer or a meal. Oh, just about. I reckon almost going back to Laffer's point there. Just about anyone that works in the Perth media could qualify as wanker. So other than ourselves, are we in the Perth media? Independent producers of fine content?
I wouldn't isolate us.
No.
Perth, we're global.
We are global, exactly right. We have viewers even in the northern suburbs of Perth and in Kalgoorlie. We are.
Yes. There was another one there. I think I saw Koshi's pop up.
Koshi, very regular contender. I felt he was a nomination there. I think Matthew Fenson nominated him. Just basically, for a couple of reasons, but
Maddie's an old primary school friend of mine. And his mother was our phys ed teacher, in fact.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Yes, there you go. Just a little bit of information behind that.
Oh, that's the beauty of Facebook. They really come through. I'd just like to say hello to someone very special who's just joined. My wife Tracy Bishop is watching, which is the first time I've ever managed to get her to watch anything I've done. She's just shouted out to me. It was accidental.
Does she understand how this works?
I don't know. Now
you know what?
Now I feel bad.
I know why Tracy's watching, because you've obviously put a little bit of pressure on her inadvertently by mentioning earlier in the show that Tracy has chosen your beers.
Yes.
So Tracy
to see if
in effect, is going to feel partially responsible should that beer not get a reasonable score.
Oh, it'll get a reasonable score. Don't worry about that. So, another nomination, Laffer, you are on 5 nominated Michael Jordan, taking on the GOAT, at least in a basketball sense. C grade, he was a major wanker, but God, I love him. Yes, well, I think there's one of the great conundrums, isn't it, that you can be great at a thing, and in this case, particularly great at a sport, and not necessarily be a great person. So that's
very true. And I call it the bubble effect, that people live in these little celebrity or sports bubbles.
And surely none more so than American basketball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we had Koshi. We've had some rippers. Gary Ad said the old 82-year-old bloke.
Oh, look, I think this is only going to grow, and obviously we're going to have a weekly one, but
yes,
but I think we'll obviously have an annual one too.
Keep them coming, because we need more.
I love to see them. Absolutely, just keep sending them through, and keep it front of mind when you venture out your front door each day. Just keep an eye out for any wankerous behaviour of any sort.
I'm just googling who Richard Poozy is, because you've got.
Whilst you Google that.
Oh God, Richard. Yes, thank you. He is the Melbourne mortgage broker who gives all mortgage brokers a bad name for driving around, the Porsche driver in the crash. Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
Yeah.
I'm, as far as I'm concerned, clubhouse leader right there. Absolute. Yeah.
That's indisputable, I think. I mean, we've had some wonderful offerings, but that takes the cake.
Sorry, how do I have realised who that was?
He's just thrown that in. I wonder whether he's been holding on to that card and he thought, I'm just going to throw that on the table now.
Yeah, it is a bit like when you're playing Uno and you've got that draw 4. It's like, right, everyone, here we go.
You're holding off when's the right time to release it.
Laffer works in a very similar, much the same industry as I do. And, nothing worse than when you do something for a job and put it in the news as mortgage broker Melbourne mortgage broker, and you're going, just say his name. That we don't need to hear about his job, you know.
Actually, he's actually hit us up for a prize, Laffer. He's got, I'll win a prize. And you know what, Bish?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Laffer, you absolutely win a prize.
Yeah.
And do you want to let him know what it is, Bish, or shall I?
Well, it's either an ironing board or a phone case.
Do you remember that ironing board that I've been trying to move on? and Laffer, not only am I prepared to award you the ironing board, much deserved, I might add, I'm actually willing to deliver it to you if you live in the metro area.
He does, yeah.
Okay.
You want to go at Christmas time? He has the best Christmas lights. I hope you still do that, Laffer.
Before we go further with this, I've got to make a special announcement. Now, we had Chris Kirkwood. You might remember we had Chris and Beck on the show a couple of weeks back, and Chris has actually nominated his son Sam. Not
terrible. I wasn't going to bring it
exactly that. I had to tell him just to step back a little bit. You know, it's not so much wankerous behaviour, but really just ridiculous behaviour. But just reckless behaviour, I think, was the term I used. I don't know if you read it on Facebook, but young Sam is an accident-prone young man, and a number of weeks, I think it might have been the first time last year, he was out for a ride on his bike in Kalgoorlie. As you know, there's not a lot in the way of traffic obstacles and things like that, but there seems to be one notorious pole that stands in the middle of a bike path.
What is it, like a bollard to stop you driving a car?
I think it's just, yes, correct. And it seems to be not once, not twice, but on 3 occasions, young Sam Kirkwood has managed to drive straight into this pole. And I don't know if you've seen a picture of his...
I saw the bike wheel.
I saw his bike wheel. It's not in a good way. So Sam's, it's not wankerous behaviour, most definitely reckless behaviour, and it's something he needs to be commended for, I suppose, because this is the type of thing we're looking for. Is that Sam's calling out for some kind of award. We don't really have anything. We don't really have a scope, I suppose, here. We don't really have any precedents. I don't know what to award him with this. He thoroughly deserves something, some form of recognition.
The terribly entertaining behaviour award. I can't. We'll do some homework on that, because that is just. I just don't know how it could have happened like 3 times.
3 times. The same bollard.
The same bollard. That's just, that's just, I don't know. All right. Well, look, I think we've covered that off.
So
do you want to pick it? Do we want to name someone as this week's winner of Wanker of the Week, or the Alan Jones Memorial Award, as I would like to call it, or the Jones Evans Trophy?
Yeah. Well, maybe it can be the Jones Evans Trophy.
Yes, perpetually awarded each week, and then, what do you reckon?
I like that, the Jones Evans Trophy.
So
yes, let's do that. Let's write that down.
Who's your pick? Who's your pick? Are we going to make it our decision is final, or do we want to put it to the vote? Or
look, I think we need to make the decision ourselves.
Yeah, I think given we've had so many nominations,
I think it'll become confusing.
I think we'll pick it this week, but maybe one week we'll mix it up and we'll nominate a couple and people can vote on it. So we'll see how we go. So, okay, who do you reckon? If you had to
look, they all warrant a place. And, we talk about Richard Pusey and I get really angry about that. And there's no doubt that's a high level of wankerous behaviour. But, that aside, that's a step above.
He's probably getting into the category of rascal. And
I think
by rascal, I don't mean rascal, I mean.
Yes.
That's
probably outside of the realm of what we're looking for when we're talking wankerous. Really wankerous behaviour is really Yeah. I think we tone it down. We bring it back a step from there. You know, a couple of ones that stand in mind was Peter Hardy's one,
I love
also
that.
Leonard.
I love that.
But they, in my mind, just the average Joe on the street, just going about their daily goings on and just becoming a menace, I suppose, to others. In my mind is true.
What I love about that is that our inaugural winner doesn't actually have a name. He's just going to be 82-year-old man. 82-year-old local man.
Yeah, let's do
which I love even better.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. I mean, we're pinning the behaviour, really, aren't we? Not the person.
We are. Yeah, exactly right. And it could be, it's possibly his one and only crack at nomination, unless we do find that he's been also terrorising people on his go.
Do you think if we do, in fact, find out who these people are by chance, that we could actually,
post them a certificate?
Post them a certificate, post them an award.
I don't know. Would that be harassment?
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll talk to if anyone out there is a lawyer.
Better still, Bish, for the annual award, maybe we could get both Alan Jones and Peter Evans to present.
Well, as we know, Peter Evans does have a standing invitation on this show, to which he has not yet responded because he is weak as piss, to come on this show and explain how his magic light box works, and no sign of him. So, yes, perhaps we could coincide him coming on, present the award but I honestly think this bloke might be our first winner, 82-year-old man, but I don't think he's going to, he won't be anywhere near it at the end, because somebody will trump that.
Yeah. But it's a good start.
It's a great start, and I love it. Came in quite late this afternoon too, but geez, when I read it, I laughed. So he's our 82-year-old man on his way to 2J. You are our wanker of the week. Congratulations. You've won the inaugural Jones Evans Trophy, and we'll be back next week to see who can perhaps take out there. Well, you're the clubhouse leader in the inaugural Jones Evans Trophy, to be presented by Peter Evans or Alan Jones, or not, or me and you. So we've covered that. We're nearly.
We are nearly at the end of another Tuesday.
One more thing to do, mate.
One more thing to do, mate.
We've got to give our beer a rating.
We need to rate our beers. So, would you like to go first, sir?
I get to go first. Well, I have to admit, this is a bit of a cheat. I've had this beer before. I love it for the label. I love it for the Simpsons reference. I love it for the taste. It's a Nipa, which is just about my favourite. Oh, who am I kidding? They're all my favourites. But it is a really great fruity style of beer, often found in a citrus flavour. This one is no exception. I'm going to go 4.5 stars straight off the bat.
Wow, that's solid.
And you really, if you've not tried this beer, you've got to give it a go. It is it's a banging beer. It really is. Love it.
Wonderful. Yep. So, okay, mate. Well,
how about yours?
Yeah, so obviously I went with the seasonal brewing, the Black IPA, which is a beer they've done in collaboration with the guys at Grain CRU, otherwise known as Celebrations at Carlisle.
Just near me.
That little guy there. So it's the first time I've had that tonight, and I was absolutely pleasantly surprised. So I've been drinking a lot of the porters and the sort of transitioning
into the darks at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, most definitely. I've always really enjoyed it, so I enjoy this time of the year for the beers as well. But no, I absolutely really enjoyed this. So like most sort of black IPAs, it's almost crossing into it's like a lighter stout almost in some. It's got a good weight to it, just the right amount of bitterness. But yeah, very easy on the palate as well. So look, I rate that one 4 stars. Bish.
4 stars.
Very happy with that. I'll most definitely
so
buy
we'll
that.
post that. We'll create a little pinned post or however you do it. Don't forget to check us out on MySpace as well. We're obviously big in that spot.
Have we done that yet?
No.
Do we need to maybe reinvent MySpace?
I don't know. I'm going to look. I've got some other IT work to do around here. But
look, I wouldn't be adverse to maybe no one uses MySpace. Maybe you and I can kickstart it again. Maybe we can be the only people on. Do you think so?
The men who saved MySpace. Look, that's we're now getting ridiculous. We are getting ridiculous. So look, thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you. I didn't look at how many people watched. I'm sure it was a few, but thanks to everyone who commented and contributed. Thanks, Laffer. Don't forget to message the page so you can work out where to collect your ironing board or where Shinno can drop off the ironing board or the phone case cover. I think it's still around here somewhere. Where everything is in my house, around here somewhere. So next week we've got a special guest again, Brian Grenolsh, going to join us to discuss some of these things. Keep your nominations coming for.
I'm kind of expecting 45 minutes of dad jokes. Is this what we're getting?
Oh, I hope so. I really. He's a cracker. Very, very humorous on the one-liners on the Facebook. So I hope he hasn't I hope he saved some of his A material for us, is all I can say. So enjoy that. It will be a recorded show next week because, well, availability of superstars is all I can say. So look forward to seeing it. Thanks again, Shiino.
Thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure. It's been a hoot.
Absolute hoot. Absolute pleasure. Great night, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, mate.
Will do. See you, mate. Catch ya.
See ya. Hello, mate. No, that's all right. It's just going up on the page. So.
And we're live in. Well, you'll hear me when we're live.
Wait a second, jeez.
There we are. We're live, Shiino.
Welcome. How do I pause that? There we go. No, good. So, mate, we got some good comments and a few people watching. So, I think it's going all right. I think that was the. Yeah. Afterwards, yeah, because it's on a slight lag. Yeah, so it's not 100% live. I reckon it probably gets up to about a minute behind, which is why sort of you ask people for their comments, for example, and it takes a little minute there. But no, that was good. Yeah, no, actually, Laffer would be worth getting on. It's funny as all get out. It's hilarious. So, yeah, I might. Yeah, I will. Yeah. Yeah. And, yeah, we'll work that into an ongoing thing. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good, and that could. Hang on, I'm still. Oh.